That is quite a large inflow, quite a lot. I mean, if you go back 2 weeks, we only had 2 days of outflow. Every other day has been inflow. See, this is what people don't realize. Most retail investors just look at daily price, right? They're like, oh, Bitcoin's not moving. Bitcoin's stuck at 62,000. Oh, Bitcoin's stuck at 63,000. Oh, Bitcoin's stuck below 60,000, right? But what are these institutions? What are they doing? They don't care about that. They're like, oh, it's still cheap to buy, right? So while retail has been waiting, look at how much has been bought in the last 2 weeks. Since the beginning of September to now, I mean, only 2 days of outflow, but if you add all the inflow, that's like over $1 billion. That's over $1 billion right there, right? That's what the institutions, that's what the big money and smart money, what they're doing. They're buying all the ETFs, and guess what the ETFs are doing? Then they're buying all the Bitcoin. They're taking it out of supply. So that's why the reserves on exchanges keeps on going down. The minor reserves keeps going down. I mean, it's coming out of somewhere. It's not like fiat where you could just print more anytime. Bitcoin, there's only a set amount, right? So this is what you have to pay attention to. The ETFs, they never existed in any previous cycles. This is a big deal. Just like before ETFs came out, I also said, just wait. When the ETFs come out, this is a big deal. A lot of people try to downplay it. Oh, ETFs not gonna affect the market. No, it will, because it soaked up like $30+ billion of Bitcoin. It removed it from circulation. Don't tell me that it has no effect. It does, and it will continue to. As long as these big boys continue to buy, and it will have a big effect on Bitcoin, but you just have to give it time. That the big money, the smart money have been accumulating, and they will continue to do so while everyone else, retail investors, let his hands panic. Here's something else that's really good. BNY Mellon has gotten the SEC approval to offer Bitcoin custody service. That's great. Now, all banks should receive this same kind of treatment, right? A lot of banks have been asking, hey, I want to be a custodian for Bitcoin, right? Why not? Why not? They're all federally regulated. They're all FDIC insured. Why not, right? It makes a whole lot of sense. So everyone wants a piece. And Gary these days, he's just like letting things go because he knows his days are numbered. He's getting killed by Congress people, and basically he knows he's going to be fired come November. So it does not matter. He's going to be out of there. So right now it's just like he's just approving everything. Addresses with at least one Bitcoin. 1 million unique wallets holding at least one Bitcoin, right? So that sounds like a lot. A lot of you guys do have at least one Bitcoin, so that's great. And 1 million does sound a lot, but 1 million out of 8 billion really isn't that much, right? So if you can attain at least one Bitcoin, if you could get at least one, you will be putting yourself in a really good spot. I think 0.27% of the world, which is really, really good. Keep in mind, 1 million unique wallets does not mean you have 1 million users too, because many people in crypto have like a dozen wallets or more, right? So honestly, that 1 million, it's really maybe like 100,000 people, okay? It's not even like a million people. So bottom line is, if you could get yourself to become a whole coiner and get at least one Bitcoin, which isn't easy to do. A lot of people think, oh, it's easy to get one Bitcoin. It's not. You have to have $64,000 to have one Bitcoin. There's almost virtually no one that around the world really could just pull out $64,000 from a bank account and buy a Bitcoin, right? There's a very, very small number of people that can, but for virtually everyone else that's working a 9 to 5, that's impossible. But how you could do it is DCA every day, right? Every day, a little bit at a time until you get it. And that's how so many people that have watched me over the years have attained at least one, and now they're working on their second or third or the fifth or the 10th. Just DCA over the long haul. That's it. Really that simple. But if you do attain it, you will be rewarded. You'll be rewarded. I saw a lot of people talk about Plan B in the live chat and on X. Some people love him, some people hate him. He's predicting that Bitcoin will hit $1 million by the end of 2025. I don't know if that's going to be true. I think that's a little bit too bullish, even by my standards. But who's to say it won't happen? If the institutions FOMO with their billions and trillions of dollars, maybe it will happen, or maybe it won't. But we know Bitcoin's going to end up being a lot higher than where it is now, so who cares, right? So who cares? All we know is it's going to be higher. So bullish crossover on the 5-day chart. You can see the last 2 times we had this happen, Bitcoin went up over 70%, 79% back in October. Yes, October, which is coming in less than a week. Last time this happened, October brought us 79% gains. And then we had it happen again earlier this year around the March timeframe where we went up 74%. We're about to have that bullish crossover once again. Again, the stars are aligning. We're about to head into October with great macro conditions because of the liquidity injections, right? So do the math. Are we going to go up 70% from our current level? What would that, I'm just curious. What does that mean? 70%. So that means if we take our 64,000 right now and then we times it by 1.7, that would bring us up to $110,000 if we follow the same pattern. I did say that I believe Bitcoin will be in 6 figures by the end of the year. Do I believe that we will hit it in October? No, but this is not saying that we're going to hit it in October. But by the end of this year, to 100, 110, that's exactly what this is showing. This is what I said. 6 figures by the end of this year. I've said that many, many times. Let's stick with it. And if this is true, if we're following previous patterns, that is what we will see. And people that panic sold or not bought the dip when we had our opportunity at 49,000 just like a month ago, or 52,000 or whatever, they will regret it. This is also the only cycle where the supply is actually going down. All previous cycles prior had the supply going up on exchanges. 2015, 2018, you could say even 2021, the supply was still going up. This is the only cycle that we're going into where liquidity on exchanges is actually going down, and going down at an alarming rate. So again, take a second to think about that. Let that sink in. As FOMO kicks in and as institutions continue to load up, I mean, there's just not enough to go around. Eventually, there will be very little Bitcoin on exchanges for people to buy.